think the lifestyle here is just way better. Like the weather, the stuff that you can do, and the people that you meet, especially here in Marbella. I would say it's confidence, because I think everybody lacks that in the very beginning, because like an agency or any business, especially if you're starting on your own, it comes down to sales. So you're gonna have to sell. And in the beginning, I was awful at sales. I couldn't really sell.
Last week, Monday, we had a power outage here, which was pretty crazy. It gave me some COVID vibes, like some the world is going to end vibes. So I think it's important in the future you are prepared for that kind of stuff, because there will be more stuff happening. The agenda from the people above is there.
Exactly, and I think that's something that we see more and more. It's just kind of the state of the world now is kind of crazy. Like with what's happening across the world, being connected or having to conform to the way the world is very difficult. So we always joke about the Matrix or like escaping the Matrix, but I think it's a real.
Yo, Corey, welcome to the Marbella sessions.
Thank you.
They call you Corey with the chain.
Corey with the chain.
Explain me more.
I have the chain. I mean, I guess if you want, I can explain. But
okay.
When I started in entrepreneurship, I had one client really early, and it was one of my first clients. It was a jewelry store in Ireland in kind of like the middle of nowhere, but it was one of my first jobs. And as a gift, they gave me this chain for making them a website. So
that's nice. Good story behind it.
Yeah. It has good meaning too. I thought I lost it once and I was freaking out.
Really? Yeah. That must be crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, Corey, tell us more how you started into business. So now you run an agency. Yeah. Tell me more what you do, how you...
Yeah, so basically I went to college. I was growing up in Ireland. I kind of knew when I was in school that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I was in school, I actually ran online communities. So I was making money online through doing web design and playing games.
How did you know that from earlier on, that you had it in you to run a business?
I think it was from just from playing games and kind of running those communities. I just realized that I enjoyed building stuff and making money online. So I wanted to pursue that. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college or not. So I decided to go just to get the experience. But while I was in college, I decided to create an agency from doing websites for games. And from doing that, I ended up kind of just progressing into what I do now.
Okay, interesting. So for you, it seemed more like a natural transition from being a student, and then you just, when you were finishing your studies, you just went full-time instantly.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, it was way more organic than most people. It wasn't a question of if I wanted to do it. It was just what I wanted to do, what industry, what niche I wanted to do.
Okay, interesting. And so when you finished your studies, you were like a freelancer, or you like started an agency, like you said, immediately? How did you change your mindset from being a freelancer to being a full-time agency owner?
Yeah, I think that's kind of difficult, because in the beginning it was more of like a freelancer, because I was doing really shitty websites on WordPress that were really cheap, maybe like €300, €400. And that was the kind of beginning. But as I did more and more, I realized that I wanted to get into that agency space. And for me, an agency is when you have different team members and it's more of just you on your own. And as I was getting more and more work, I just realized that was naturally where I needed to go. So yeah, from doing it freelance, I just wanted to scale and make more money, and I knew I needed a team to do that.
Okay, interesting. For people watching right now, what would you say was the one thing as a skill that changed your business? Because of course you're in the beginning, you search for what you can do. You have to learn something to sell, of course. How did you find it? What can you give the people for advice that you changed in yourself to be where you are now?
Yeah, I would say it's confidence, because I think everybody lacks that in the very beginning, because like an agency or any business, especially if you're starting on your own, it comes down to sales. So you're going to have to sell. And in the beginning, I was awful at sales. I couldn't really sell any products at all. I knew I was good at what I did, so I could do, after I did the shitty websites, I started to do good websites, then I did good marketing, I got good results. So I was getting good results, but I couldn't sell. So instead of a skill, I would say it's confidence, and that just takes repetition and time to kind of build up confidence to actually be able to sell what you do, because in the beginning you won't have it, but you need to kind of learn that that's normal. Like that's the way everybody is.
That's why overthinking is really bad, because people overthink too much, they don't take action, and they don't get confident in something because they don't learn something. And people who don't think too much, they just do it, and they are really confident because they don't know more what's out there. So they just do it and they are confident in sales. It's all attached to each other. I personally
Exactly.
think.
Yeah. Like I've come across people that are almost overly confident, but those are the guys that will start a business and they'll do well in the first year. It's just maybe they naturally had confidence from the beginning, but they will go out and put stuff in. But it's not to say that somebody can't learn it or you can pick it up over time.
Yeah. True. Okay, interesting. I'll take a drink from the monster.
I'll actually join them.
It's pretty sunny.
You're nice and warm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, bro, I'm just thinking about a question. So, with your agency, Corey, you are into lead gen for real estate clients?
Yeah. So I'd say it's we do lead gen for real estate, mainly modular housing, manufactured housing, mobile homes, anything that's kind of more on the affordable side. So it's kind of a faster delivery than a residential property.
Okay. And what is one thing that people about your business leads generation for the properties get wrong about that? What is the wrong perception that people think about lead generation in that area?
I think it's the sales process. So I think in lead gen in general or real estate, people think that the sales process is going to be a lot easier than it is. They think when you get a lead, that's kind of the final stage of the whole process of what we do, but it's way more than that. If we just gave client leads, they wouldn't really get any sales. It's the whole follow-up process, it's the automation, and that's really where the clients that make money are kind of standout clients. They're the ones that follow up, they text, they work the leads a lot more, and they don't expect every lead to turn into a sale because that's just not possible. Otherwise, you could just print money.
Yeah, that's true. But that's where it starts, right? You start with the lead and then the sales process. And do you guide them in the sales process too, or is that something that they have to figure out themselves, or how do you tackle that problem?
Yeah, so we actually handle, I would say, there's a saying cradle to grave where it's kind of like we handle from start to finish the sales process. So we would handle everything up until the client or the lead books an appointment. So we would handle the outreach. We have appointment setters that call the leads. They would speak to the leads as what's called an ISA. It's an internal sales agent. They will call the lead themselves and say, hey, I'm calling from Red Rock Real Estate. I'd like to book you in for a consultation. So we handle all of that up until the point where the client can speak to them. So that was something we didn't do at the beginning. We used to just give the client the lead, and I quickly realized that the follow-up process is probably the hardest part, so we handle all of that for the clients.
Okay, interesting. So like the lead nurturing, okay. That's a good insight about the sales process. Let me check if I have other questions about that. So for your agency, if I gave you 10K or 20K, let's say 20K, in 30 days to grow your agency more, what would the tasks be?
I think in all agencies now, something that we've spoke about is, I think organic outreach is it's very hard to do now because of all the automation, the AI. So you really need to bring inbound organic, so doing YouTube videos, podcasts like this video series, but also paid ads. So I think I'd actually take it was 10K.
Yeah, let's say 20.
20K. Yeah. I would take the 20K and I think I would split a lot of it into paid ads, and I would use it to acquire clients at scale, maybe at a higher cost. When you have a smaller business, there's kind of a set cost per acquisition that you can have, whereas when you have a bigger budget to spend in your ads, you can kind of afford to spend more. If it costs 1K or 2K to get a client, it's not an issue because their LTV is going to be much higher. So I would spend it on ads. We have most of the infrastructure to kind of deal with those leads when they come in from the ads.
Okay, interesting. And what's then the current problem that you're struggling with the most to get higher revenue? Because you said you will do paid ads, so why are you not doing it now?
At the moment, it's just the fact that we're building out more of the organic kind of follow-up side, and in the back end, we've been building out the team. So I have more appointment setters actually doing the service deliverability, and then also just the budget to spend. I think we would need to have an excess of kind of, as you said, kind of 20K per month to spend on ads. And I think an issue or a mistake that people make in the beginning when they're scaling is they'll spend a lot of money on ads that they could spend on different parts of the business. And if the ads don't perform, they've wasted a lot of money that they could have spent elsewhere. So it's something I don't really want to do or don't want to kind of waste the money on, but it is something that we do. So we kind of do half advertising, half organic outreach.
Okay. Yeah, it's like an end-to-end equation. You need to also have your delivery in order.
Yeah.
Especially if you, like me, have a content agency, you need to pay people, you need to do all kinds of stuff. So you need budget for that. And then you still need to be able to spend enough on ads. And that can be quite a challenge, and it needs to be in balance.
Exactly, yeah. Because I think as a business owner, you need to check all of the kind of revenue that you're bringing in, the money, where your money is spending, what's your expenses. So it's just juggling that on top of, your kind of deliverability that you're doing as well. So there's a lot going on before you can kind of spend 20K on ads. You'd need to think about it.
Yeah, true. And talking about revenue, what is your currently monthly revenue?
Now at the moment, so I used to do ecom for around 3 years. And when I was doing that, I was making around 50K per month.
50?
So, so now I've rebuilt the agency completely from scratch. Okay. So now we're kind of sitting between 15 to 20K.
Okay, interesting. I'm just curious about ecom. What are the margins? Because you did ecom for 3 years, also paid ads.
Yeah,
I can guess you have to spend a lot in ads. What are the margins, normal margins, like for
the client or for
like for you
agency?
For you, like if you have 50K revenue, how much profit is it?
So it was far less than lead gen, because in ecom there's so much more asset creation. There's a lot more creative. That was one of the reasons that I stepped away from ecom. Is I just didn't really want to play the kind of catch up game with how much content is needed, but also I was working with brands, pretty big brands in the UK and Ireland, managing accounts that were generating 200K a month, 250K per month. So they were making a lot of money, but from the back of that, we were still only charging a retainer of kind of 3K, 4K. And it was probably the expenses were way higher than what we get in lead gen. So that was kind of why I stepped away. Business wise, it was easier to acquire clients, but the clients themselves required a lot more work, like way more work.
Okay, interesting. All right, no, good insights, bro. And now we're here in Marbella. Look at the view.
We are.
How did you end up here? You live here in Marbella full time now, or?
Yeah. So kind of, I always go between Ireland and Spain, but I was living in Barcelona before this. I was in Barcelona for 3 years, and I was going back and forth between Ireland and Barcelona. Then I decided I didn't really want to stay in Barcelona. That was when I was doing ecom. So I kind of had a realization that I didn't want to do it. I decided to cancel all the clients in a friendly way. I just said, look, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Okay.
I recommended them to a friend that has an agency that manages ecom. I went back to Ireland, and then as I was in Ireland for, I'd say, I think 6 months, I was back in Ireland, or 7 months, I slowly just realized that I missed Spain far more than I thought I would when I left. I think the lifestyle here is just way better. Like the weather, the stuff that you can do, and the people that you meet, especially here in Marbella. So I wanted to move back, and then I met my girlfriend Lucia in Ireland. So when we met, we were speaking on Instagram, and I knew she was from Marbella. So when we met up in Ireland, after a few months' time, we kind of decided, look, it makes more sense to go back here. We can enjoy the lifestyle a lot more, and also the money that we make can go a lot further here in Spain. So that was the biggest deciding factor of coming back here, was just mainly the lifestyle.
Okay, interesting. And Marbella, bro, a lot of people are here, like entrepreneurs. I think it's also good to network, even better than Dublin. I can guess.
This is like the Miami of Europe, as everybody says. So I think here is one of the, compared to Barcelona, I much prefer here. Like I love it here. I think the weather here is much nicer, and then also the people you meet. Like there's a lot more entrepreneurs, especially from. Something I was surprised with is there's a lot more American entrepreneurs here. There's a lot more kind of mixed kind of entrepreneurship here. In Barcelona, I met some, but not as much as here. Like here, you meet people from
more also on the higher level. Like some people are like 100K million per month. You meet everyone here. Like
and
you need to be a place where you are at the lowest, and I think that's a good place here to be if you earn 10, 20, 30, 50K, because there are people earning 500 to million.
Exactly, yeah. It's like you're the sum of the 5 people you're around kind of thing. Where
true.
Here, you can meet people that are millionaires, and they're happy to give you time. They're happy to speak to you. We've met some people here in the time that you've been here, and you can learn so much from those people. Like from rebuilding now the agency and lead gen and working with new clients, I'm learning from people that have agencies that are generating $1 million a year, 2 million, 10 million. So you're bumping into people, kind of just learning the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way if you can just ask people questions in person and you have their feeling with them. That's something you don't come across in Dublin or in Belgium, where I'm from. So good stuff.
And I used to I used to not really believe in kind of the whole mentorship and like learning from other people. It was through one of our friends, David, that I kind of started to realize that mentorship is so important. Like if you can, it sounds obvious, but I think I had a limiting belief where I just didn't really trust a mentor. I didn't really trust like if somebody else had done it, especially with all the kind of gurus online, it's hard to find someone you can trust. Whereas from speaking to David, he was explaining if somebody is ahead of what you're trying to do or where you're trying to go, that's the best person you can learn from.
You pay for experience.
Exactly,
right?
and it makes so much sense now. I think I was just naive or just didn't want to believe that was the best way to do it. Whereas now, coming across people like James Smith and those type of YouTube channels and people you can learn from, that's kind of the people that you want to learn from. And if you can do it in person, like you said, it's worth 10 times more.
Yeah. It's the truth is actually if we wouldn't invest in coaching, we wouldn't know each other. Because we know each other through Dave.
Yeah.
And I know Dave through Nick Metzger coaching course. So
it's crazy. Yeah.
And do you currently have a mentor or?
No, not at the moment. But I think somebody that I've been watching a lot of and we've spoke about is kind of I forget his name now, but it's James Smith. So James Smith. That's somebody that I'm thinking of buying the mentorship from. I think he's the most kind of raw entrepreneur that I've seen. He does a lot of kind of good work in his Discord. He explains business and he comes from a different angle. It's actually somebody that's not even in my niche or my industry. He comes from the fitness industry. So
sometimes it can be good to have a different angle, to have different perspective from another business on your niche. So interesting.
Exactly. And I think the biggest angle, like you said, that I would get from him is his mindset. I think the way he thinks about business and how raw it is something that I kind of look up to and somebody I'd pay mentorship for.
And so speaking about mentorship and the future, where do you see yourself and your agency in 3 years?
Yeah, that's kind of a good question. I think now the biggest thing for this year was obviously rebuilding the agency. So going from zero back to where we are now.
When did you start at zero?
It was only at the end of last year.
Okay, so that's pretty fast where you are now.
And I think that just comes down to the fact that I've had the agency before. So that was kind of a mindset shift where I wanted to do that. A lot of people thought it was silly. Even family members thought it was silly to give up on that kind of revenue that I had, the clients I had.
So your family was like involved in your business. They knew about your revenue. They know about how it works. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because I grew up, I just have one brother. So he kind of always knew like the ins and outs of my business. I lived with my mom growing up, so she knew everything. So those kind of had the gossip of what I was doing or what revenue I was doing or how the business was going. So they've always supported it. So even when I said like, look, mentally, I didn't want to do ecom anymore, they were more than happy to just let me go back to Ireland, figure it out. And they knew that I'd figure it out to kind of do something else. So that's when I wanted to do lead gen. Yeah.
Interesting that you have good support from your family. That's important. Like for example, in my case, my family, they are not entrepreneurs, but I feel like sometimes I can't talk with some stuff that I have to deal with. I can't talk about that with them because they don't have the knowledge.
Don't understand. I think in Ireland it's pretty similar in Ireland, but also how people in Ireland operate is everybody is kind of conformed to this idea of you need to go to college, you need to get a job.
The matrix stuff.
Exactly, the matrix stuff. So everybody in my family works that way, but I think because they work that way, they're happy for me to be the one person that's kind of the black sheep, the person that's the outsider. They want to see me succeed because maybe they don't want to do it, but they want to support me and see me do it. So I love that. That gives me kind of energy to do what I do.
Okay, interesting. So now in 5 months, 15K of revenue. In 3 years, Corey, what revenue are you at?
I think I'd like to get the agency to a point where it's doing at least probably by the end of this year 6 figures. Like if I was doing 6 figures a month, that's what I'd love to get the agency to. And now I'm a lot smarter.
So 100K per month.
Yeah, 100K per month would be kind of the target by the end of the year. And now I'm rebuilding it a lot smarter. I think I was more naive when I had the e-commerce. I had really bad sales agents. I had really bad staff, really bad SOPs. I was really bad at managing staff. Now I understand.
That's where you learn, right?
Exactly. Like now, from my mistakes, I've learned all of that. So I'm building it a lot smarter. I think that's how I got to this stage quicker. But probably by the end of the year, I'd want to be at 100K. But after that, it's kind of reach for the moon, like try and grow it as much as possible. I really enjoy what I do, and kind of one of the reasons I moved into it was landing a big client. I was working with Honda in Europe, doing lead gen. So that was one of the craziest clients that I've worked with. That was a big retainer. So working with those guys kind of I realized I was doing ecom for them, but then I was doing some lead gen for them also, for vehicles, selling vehicles. And I just realized, okay, this is way easier, way more enjoyable, and I can see the direct outcome of the lead gen also. So it's selling cars that are 50K, 60K, compared to on the ecom side, I was doing small ticket kind of parts and stuff that they sold in Honda.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So in the future, your vision is just you want to build a business as high as possible to the moon.
Yeah.
And for your personal lifestyle, do you have any? Because you already live a pretty good life here, I guess, in Marbella. What do you have any goal by that? Do you have any specific day in your head that you say, I want to wake up, I want to have a villa in Marbella on the beach, or I want to be in Bali or whatever?
Yeah. I think you just explained exactly what I kind of want. So because I've tried like the Barcelona and stuff, and I've came here and I really like the lifestyle here, that would kind of be my vision. My vision board would be a villa somewhere, my own villa that I have. I'd love it to be kind of remote. I don't want it to be kind of connected to almost civilization. One of my good friends, Connor, has a kind of vision where basically me and a few friends would just buy a big plot of land, we'd build villas, and we'd live
like
around
your
each
own
other.
community.
Exactly, yeah, like your own community, and kind of live off grid, but you still have, now with Starlink and stuff, you can have the Wi-Fi, you can have everything you need. So I think it's a villa in Marbella with a Porsche Cayman or a Porsche 911.
Nice.
That I can kind of modify and do what I want with.
Nice. I like your thought about community and like off grid, because last week Monday we had a power outage here, which was pretty crazy. It gave me some COVID vibes, like like some the world is going to end vibes. So I think it's important in the future you are prepared for that kind of stuff, because there will be more stuff happening. The agenda from the people above is there.
Exactly, and I think that's something that we see more and more. Is just kind of the just the state of the world now is kind of crazy. Like with what's happening across the world, being connected or having to conform to the way the world is very difficult. So we always joke about the Matrix or like escaping the Matrix, but I think it's a real thing. Like there's parts of escaping the Matrix that everybody wants. Some people just won't do it or won't kind of go out of their way to do. But having your own community, not being connected to the grid, if there's a power outage, having your own generator, your own system that you can live off of, I think that's a goal or a dream that I would have too, is just being self-sufficient. So having to not worry about depending on a government or outside energy to kind of affect that.
True. I think that's what life about. Also live in nature, live in community, have your own life, because we don't matter as much as we think. Sometimes we think we are the most important in the world, but bro, in 2 generations, what do you think about that? Like in 2 generations, nobody will think about you unless you're like Elon Musk or crazy stuff.
Yeah, I think that's why people need to take more advantage of the time that they have. Because
take more risk, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I think people get over. People think about other people's opinions way too much now. Where that's something that I had the luxury of starting out, because I had the support of my family. Is they wanted me to go and do my own thing. Whereas a lot of people just fear like what their people, like their friends in school or their friends. I can guarantee the people that don't want you to do well are people you don't want as friends anyways. So you don't want to satisfy those people or entertain them.
You don't care about their opinion because you don't want their life. So what does it matter? No. Corey, thanks for the nice talks. I hope for the viewers it was interesting.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, and I have one quote for the end of the video. It's not about the pursuit of happiness, it's about the happiness of pursuit.
I like that. Yeah, it's a good quote.
Because I think it's good, your vision that you have, like, I just want to build a business, I like it as much as possible.
Exactly.
You have to enjoy the journey, because if you only enjoy the outcome,
I think
you might be disappointed when you have the outcome, right?
Exactly, because even for anybody watching, like the ecom business I had, it was running really well, it was making really good money, it's money people would be really happy with per month, but mentally it was so draining, like managing other people's brands, managing people's companies, it's not something I wanted to do, whereas now it's way more happiness fulfilled and it's fulfilling what I want to do.
Yeah, good to hear, bro. All right, Corey, thank you.